Hi, I'm Bernie Hayes. Today I have two guests, and we'll be talking about African American culture today on The Bernie Hayes Show. And welcome back. As promised, my guest is be talking about the Black Heritage Festival coming up. D.C. Cooper. D.C., welcome back to the Bernie Hayes Show.
Well, Bernie, it's always a pleasure to be on your show, and I'm very pleased to be here today.
It's been about 3 or 4 years since you've appeared here last
That's
time.
correct, and of course, when I was on your show, it was at the old
the downtown
old location.
Facility down 1411 Locust Street.
Yeah.
To tell us about why you're here today. Tell us about Black Pride Day. We celebrating the rich heritage of African American history and culture. St. Louis African Artifacts Festival and Bazaar, August 18th, 5th annual. Tell us about that.
Well, it's a bazaar that's going to take place here in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. And we recognize the importance of Black Pride. I think there is an issue perhaps in the Black community where perhaps individuals don't seem to embrace Black Pride. And what we want to do as part of this effort is to try to show the youth and also additional people how important Black Pride is in our community. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons that we're setting up this Black Pride program.
Do you think people just aren't aware of the heritage of African Americans, the contributions of the culture?
I think that's true. Mm-hmm. I think by and large that is the case. Of course, you will recall many years ago there was a big issue with regard to the amount of Black related information that was included in history books.
Sure.
And
still, to this day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we recognize that, and so that's why we want to provide an opportunity for individuals to learn about Black Pride, to learn about their heritage, because if you don't do that, then frankly, many of our youth will not really understand where they came from. So we think that's very important.
Mm-hmm. I remember 35, 40 years ago, you were well recognized and well known for your speech of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Mm-hmm. Tell us how that came about.
Well, I attended Greenville College in Greenville, Illinois, way back in the late 70s, if I can say it kiddingly. Yeah. And I went to the library. I'd heard about Dr. King, and I went to the library and I listened to some tapes about Dr. King, and I was affected in such a way that I decided to listen to the speech many times, and I memorized the speech. And I've been doing it ever since. In fact, I would say that to date, I have perhaps recited that speech in front of audiences totaling well in excess of about 45,000 people. Wow. And on one occasion, I had the honor of sharing it at the Missouri History Museum in the presence of Dr. Arun Gandhi, who was the 5th grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. Yeah. So it's been a great experience.
Well, I remember seeing and hearing you do it on several occasions at different locations, different venues. Mm-hmm. Tell us about Black Pride Day, celebrating the rich heritage of African American history and culture itself.
Well, again, for Black Pride Day, what we're going to do...
That's Saturday, August 18th, right?
That is exactly correct. Okay. And it's going to be at the St. Lefebvre African American Arts Festival. Mm-hmm. And there are going to be a number of groups, number of performers who will be on stage right across the street from Crown Candy on 14th Street.
14th St. Louis Avenue.
Precisely. Okay. And there will be singers, dancers, and a lot of individuals who will be sharing information about Black Pride Day. We'll have some poets. There are actually going to be 2 stages at that location.
And vendors.
And vendors as well. Sure. So it's going to be an opportunity for people to interact and learn about their heritage. And this is one weekend where we recognize that we've designated, to allow people to learn about their heritage. And I think it's beautiful because in the past we've had not only adults but young children, and that's a unique opportunity for them to learn about Black Pride as well.
That's correct. And I know most of the vendors have something to do with Afrocentricity and Black artifacts and so forth in Black history.
Yeah, there's some of the vendors, in fact, actually have books and all kinds of African-related material, African-American related material that they're going to share, have available for the individuals who attend this great festival.
I remember last year during the same festival, walking through the exhibits, you think of an African village or villages, because I mean the ambiance is so that you think you are in Africa or you have a connection to your past.
Yes, it's very festive atmosphere as well. Except the different vendors, and what's really important about it is that the vendors who are at the location, many of the items that they have available are focused on African Americans.
Sure.
So it's an opportunity for people to simply go and read and learn about their culture, which is, as I stated before, very important.
This is Saturday, August 18th from 1 o'clock till 7 p.m. in the afternoon. I understand there's another event the day before, an evening with Kenneth B. Morris, Jr. at the Missouri History Museum. Tell us about that.
That's going to be a great event. We're going to have some performers there, an individual who's going to be playing. We're going to have some drummers, a lady who's, I think her name is Ida A., and she'll be performing. Her singing style is reminiscent of a combination of Tracy Chapman and Nora Jones. She'll be performing. Okay. And then, of course, Kenneth B. Morris will be speaking as well. And it's going to be at the Missouri History Museum. And it's going to be a very, very intriguing event. And I would definitely invite everybody to come. It's free as well.
I was going to ask if there's no charge to that.
No charge at all.
What time will it be?
The doors will open at 6:30 p.m. on Friday, August 17th. And the event will last from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m.
I noticed on the advertising, the flyer and so forth, you have a picture of Frederick B. Douglass, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, and Kenneth B. Morris, Jr. And also, what's the relationship with Frederick Douglass's book?
Well, there are a lot of the main relation. Main relationship between Kenneth Morris, Frederick Douglass, and Booker T. Washington is the lineage. Is Kenneth B. Morris's lineage. He is actually the great-great-great-grandson of Frederick Douglass.
Wow. And
he is also the great-great-grandson of Booker T. Washington. And
kept it in the family, huh?
He kept it in the family. And many people, and again, when we start talking about black history, those are a couple of individuals who are quite familiar in which the public is really quite familiar with their names. They were significant historical African Americans. And so he brings to the table an opportunity for him to share information about both Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington. Okay. And again, he's going to share some great information. He's a well-known speaker, and I think people will really be in for a great treat.
DC, knowing you as I do, you're a speaker, you're a voiceover artist and so forth. What do you hope the people attending this festival, more or less, will take away from it?
The most important thing that I think that they need to take away from it, a couple things. I think they'll be entertained, but also it is important. They will also have an opportunity to learn more about their culture. There are some individuals who have books about African Americans. Those books will be available. There are individuals there who are very familiar with the history of African Americans. There are going to be some dancers there. And you don't have to go to Africa to see these entertainers.
Yeah. I said it felt like you're in a village, you know.
Exactly, exactly. So I think you will you'll have an enriching experience if you attend this festival. And again, attendance at the festival is free.
Great.
And I think people will really have an opportunity to be enlightened by attending the festival.
I introduced you as a person has been here for about 4 or 5 years, but also we should tell the people that I've been a guest on your radio show. And you're a broadcaster, and you're a Toastmaster. Now tell us about that. Tell us about Big DC.
Well, I've done a few things. I am, speaking of Toastmasters, I'm a member of 3 different Toastmasters clubs. I'm currently the president of Toast of SLU, which is a Toastmasters club. I serve as the president. I'm a member.
SLU meaning St.
Louis University. Okay. I'm sorry, I got to make sure we define the acronyms.
Right.
I'm also the vice president of education at the River City Toastmasters Club here in St. Louis. And thirdly, I'm a member of an advanced Toastmasters club called Competitive Speakers STL.
Wow.
It's one of only perhaps a dozen advanced Toastmasters clubs in the world, and I'm a member of that club as well.
How can they reach you?
You can very easily reach me. My number is 314-800-6547.
Now, you a broadcaster, you know that's much too fast.
Okay, I'm sorry. Area code 314-800-6547. Now, with regard to the Toast of SLU Club, if you simply go to google.com and enter Toast of SLU in the search box, you'll be able to find out information about that club.
Okay. You have a website or email?
Yes, I do. I have an email, and my email address is DCCooper, the symbol 1 at prodigy.net.
That's great.
And my website is named DC Cooper, the Voice.
DC Cooper. That should be easy to read, especially listening to you.
.com.
DC, thank you so much, man. I know Bob Green is going to be here, but this is the next segment. But in the meantime, like Mrs. Cooper said the last time we were together, we were at 1411 Locust Street in downtown St. Louis, Missouri. But now we're at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. We had to vacate those premises down there because of lawsuits and so forth, but Reverend Rice is still attempting to reopen that facility. But we still provide the same services here that we were providing down there. In fact, if you see this cup, the Bernie Hayes Show cup, this is to help with the services here at New Life Evangelistic Center. And instead of me telling you about it, for a $25 donation, here's Reverend Larry Rice.
Have you got your Bernie Hayes mug? Yes, your gift of $24 to help us to get back into the 1411 Locust building will help so many hurting and homeless people. And when you share that $24 gift with New Life Evangelistic Center at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri at 63166, ask for your very own Bernie Hayes mug. We have a limited number of these, and we're going to just share a limited number with individuals that contact us first. A great collector's item and a way of saying thank you. It's our way of saying thank you for caring about so many hurting and homeless people that literally depend on this building. There's so many that are wandering the streets right now, and we could get it open right now for our day center services. If you'll go to God and you will pray, you'll get your church involved, and share your gift now. Remember, $24 or more, request your Bernie Hayes mug. And it's just a very special way of saying thank you for caring and standing with the homeless and the hurting at this time to reopen a building in downtown St. Louis that they can come in and get showers, and get their mail, and have a hot meal, and be able to rest, and to do their laundry, and just to have so many other direct services that we take for granted on a daily basis. We want to be there when people are hurting. We're out on the streets right now. But we've got to get back into this building at 1411 Locust. And your prayers will definitely make a difference. And just to tell you how much we appreciate you, we want to send you this very special mug if you'll just request such. So send your gift now to New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri at 63166. I want to thank Bernie and all the years he's been working together and helping us here, and all of you that have been partnering with us. Without precious people like you, we couldn't continue to be there when people are hurting. I want to thank God for each and every one of you that are praying, caring, and sharing at this hour.
And welcome back. As I promised you, we have two guests. Our guest now is Robert Green, and he's the CEO of the event we'll be talking about very, very soon. We're talking about the St. Louis African American Artifacts Festival and Bazaar, August 18th, the 5th annual St. LAAA FAB. That's right. Robert Green, welcome back.
Well, thank you, Bernie. Nice to see you.
It's been a good time, long time since you've been here, too, about a couple of years, hasn't it?
About a couple of years, but it started.
We had you here for this festival from last year, too.
Last year, and then I ran for political office.
Right.
As well. So I'm starting to feel like I'm
a
family member
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So you're no stranger to Channel 24. That's
no stranger at all.
Okay. Tell us about what's happening on August 18th.
Well, the festival started in August of 2013. Mm-hmm. My wife and I, we started it. And it came out of a visit I had at the Gateway Center in Illinois. Okay. They had the Indian Artifact Show, mm-hmm. and they had all Indian artifacts with no African American artifacts or any other ethnic group artifacts. Really? And they had no indigenous people selling their artifacts. So I decided to start an artifact festival so we can kind of take control of our artifacts. Because in Belleville, European Americans had control of all the Indian artifacts. So I didn't want that to happen to our artifacts. I wanted to make our people aware of an artifact when they came in across it, and then to protect that artifact and pass it on to someone that would preserve it.
Same with Cahokia Mounds, right?
Exact same thing.
Same,
Exact thing.
yeah, sure.
So Cahokia Mountain is a holy site. I would never walk on that site because it's holy to the Indians.
Sure.
So I respect that.
Okay, so this is Black Pride Day. Tell us about Black Pride Day.
Well, Black Pride Day, usually the festival is called the St. Louis African American Artifact Festival and Bazaar, and we celebrate our history and culture. But this year, I decided to brand it because St. Louis African American Artifact Festival and Bazaar is a really long name.
Okay.
So I decided to just shorten it down and call it St. Louis Fab Black Pride Day.
Okay.
Because I think there's Black pride missing in the African American community, and I want this event to put the eye back into pride. And pride is kind of what saved my life as a young person. I grew up in Puerto housing projects, and life in the projects was very challenging. But I came into some information that saved my life. It was a book called The History of West Africa. And in that book, I found out about Timbuktu and some other parts of Africa and how they were an educational and resource center back in the day. So that's pretty much how the festival came about.
They measured their wealth by the number of books they had, did they not?
I'm sorry?
They measured their wealth by the number of books they contained.
Absolutely.
I'm saying that's
No
wonderful.
doubt.
So
that experience, I want to give, that experience that I had wasn't forced down my throat. I kind of stumbled into that information. So with the festival, I want that to happen to young folks. I want to invite the museums, the artists, the artifact collectors, but at the same time, I want young people to stumble into the things that they like. You know, I have two young daughters, of course, and I want them to stumble into the best of our history, the best of our culture, and everything without it being forced down their throats.
Sure.
So, but at the same time, perhaps they run across a copy of your book at the festival.
Thank you.
Or a copy of Frederick Douglass' book at the festival.
Okay.
And they kind of stumble into it and then stick with them and they embrace our history and culture.
it's going to be the 18th of August.
It's going to be at the 18th of August. That's correct.
For
but this
what,
year,
1 to 7? 1 to 7?
Yeah, 1 to 7, absolutely.
And what about the day before?
This year, the festival is a multifaceted event.
Okay.
Normally, it's a one-day event that lasts from 1 to 7. We usually have a VIP kickoff reception that goes like a week before.
Okay.
But this year is kind of a multifaceted event because I had the wonderful opportunity to meet a great gentleman by the name of Kenneth Morris Jr., Kenneth B. Morris Jr., and he's a direct descendant of Frederick Douglass. He's the great-great-grandson of Frederick Douglass, and then he's also the great-great-grandson of Booker T. Washington. Nettie Washington Douglass is his mother, and she's the great-great-granddaughter of Nettie Cox Washington, and she's the great-great-granddaughter of Frederick Douglass III.
Wow.
So Nettie Cox Washington and Frederick Douglass III met on one of the black colleges, and they tied them two families.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah.
Did they know the history they were making at the time that they made that history?
Well,
You know,
according
I know they know their lineage, but
according to the book, and it's in the book here, they did, and they were trying. I don't know, not necessarily trying to unite the two families,
Sure.
but they met and they fell in love. But they did know the history of each other's family.
this is wonderful. This is great. So, is there a charge to the event on the 17th? And where's it going to be?
There's no charge to the event at the History Museum on the 17th
Okay.
of August. It's open and free to the public. All ages are welcome.
What
You know
time?
what I mean, from childhood to
What time?
the doors open at 6:30, and the program proper start at 7 and ends at 9.
Is it going to be a lecture or video series or what's it going to be?
Well, actually, it's going to be a mini microcosm example of what's going to go on the next day.
Okay.
It's going to give the people that's involved and the general public a kind of a glimpse into the festival the next day, because we're going to have African drumming. We're going to have a young lady by the name Ida A. She's going to be singing some folk songs that she's written here, and they relates to St. Louis.
Great, great.
And also, we're going to have a spoken word artist that's very, very gifted in her craft, and she's going to be speaking in honor and in homage of Frederick Douglass. And I've heard the, oration, and it's wonderful.
This is beautiful. The festival itself, you have vendors also, I understand. So tell us about
Well, the festival over the last 5 years has grown exponentially. I mean, and it's just a wonderful event. It's having violent-free. Last year, we had over 1,000 to 1,500 attendees come to the event. We had over 50 artists, poets, people selling their crafts. We had your wife, UV Hayes, performed there, and a lot of other entertainers. We had the wonderful, magnificent D.C. Cooper do a rendition of the Dr. Martin Luther King speech. I did a rendition of the Gettysburg Address, believe it or not. But so it's just a fun, family-oriented event, and I think it's going to be a wonderful event this year. Our reception thus far has just been great. I mean, people has been calling. We're the second biggest event on Eventbrite.
Right.
We got thousands of people following us on Facebook, liking us. The institutions are coming back. We got the History Museum. We got the Art Museum, the Mercantile Library, the St. Louis African American Genealogy Society. Lois Connolly with the Griot is going to talk about being a part of it. The George Boyer-Vachon, the new museum on St. Louis Avenue, is talking about being a part of it. So it's just a wonderful event where different organizations come together to make this thing happen. And I like to build this as not a St. Lefebvre event, not an event that Robert Greene. I'm the founder, of course, and it's my vision. But I like to say the people, we are putting on this event.
Okay.
You'll never see, and I'm not taking anything from any organizations, but you'll never see any big signs that say, like Budweiser is putting this on.
Sure.
I want to say the people is doing it in conjunction with a lot of other individuals and institutions.
How can they reach you, either to become a vendor or get more information about each night?
Well, you can call me personally if you like.
Okay, we'd like to do that.
You can call me at area code 314-243-1021.
Okay, repeat it for me one more time.
Yeah, area code 314-243-1021.
Okay. Is there a certain amount of glory, and then I chose that word specifically, that you feel now that so many African American people are coming together in a cultural event?
Well, Bernie, that's kind of a double edged question. Because there is glory, of course, getting people to come out and be a part of it, the event.
Okay.
But in the same vein, as far as glory is concerned, I'm missing that crowd that I really want to come out and be a part of the event.
Sure. Okay.
And that's our youth.
Yeah.
We get more seniors, we get more people in their 30s and 40s, but I'm actually trying to save and to a life and expose our young folks to the best of our history and culture, and to inspire them to follow the legacy of Frederick Douglass, the legacy of Booker T. Washington.
Okay.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I see it's growing exponentially, but I like to see more young people come out and be a part of this thing. I like to see the parents bring the young people out.
Black Pride Day, August 18th.
Black Pride Day, absolutely.
August 18th, 14th in St. Louis Avenue. And we're at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Reverend Larry Rice has been sacrificing his life to save new lives. That's why they call it New Life Evangelistic Center, because he's given so much life and so much hope to so many. But we need your help and support to continue these programs that we're providing here for those in need. And you may do it through Post Office Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri 63166. Or you may do it online at New Life Evangelistic Center. That's one word, New Life Evangelistic Center.org. An American Express, Visa, MasterCard, Discover card. Takes less than 2 minutes for wonderful, wonderful investment in the New Life Evangelistic Center. I'm Bernie Hayes, back with our guest after this.
Hello, I'm Larry Rice, and I'm inviting you to join me daily on the New Life Facebook page. Something new, something exciting every day. So go to facebook.com/New Life STL and discover what's happening on a daily basis as New Life Evangelistic Center begins to share with you a wide variety of subjects. I look forward to visiting you on the Facebook page. Remember, there's so much just waiting for you at that particular page.
We'll be returning to our guests after this Black History Moment. Today's guest is Althea Gibson. Became the first great African-American player in women's tennis. Raised primarily in Harlem and Section, New York, She won a string of American Tennis Association titles on the African American circuit. After being allowed entry to the major tournaments, she became the first black player to win the Wimbledon and the French and U.S. Opens. She turned professional in 1959 and made history by becoming the first African American competitor on the Women's Pro Golf Tour in the 1960s. She was later served as a commissioner of athletics for the state of New Jersey. Gibson's last few years were dominated by hardship. She suffered a stroke and developed serious heart problems later. And on September 28, 2003, Gibson died of respiratory failure in East Orange, New Jersey. Althea Gibson, the history maker.
A television station run by people who were previously homeless? That's what KNLC TV 24 has been for over 35 years. Now 24.2 is NLEC TV. You'll be able to take this new community-oriented TV station with you anywhere you go when you download the NLEC TV app. For further information, call 314-436-2424 or go to nlecstl.org.
And welcome back. My guest is Robert Green. He's the CEO of the St. Louis Black Pride Day, celebrating the rich heritage of African American history and culture. And Robert, I understand that there's going to be a panel discussion.
Absolutely, Bernie. Like I said earlier, this is a multifaceted event. Normally we have the event just one day, and that's on Saturday from 1 to 7. But this year we have, of course, the event at the History Museum. That's going to go from 6:30 to 9. But that Saturday morning on the 18th, before the festival, we have a panel discussion. And the panel discussion is called Uplifting African American Pride in Restoring Our Culture.
Where will it be held?
That will be held at 2701 North 14th Street at the 14th Street Artists Community.
Okay, so that's indoors.
And that's inside.
Okay.
And Ken Morris will be a part of that panel discussion. And we'll have other African American scholars that's deep in our history and culture. For example, we have Brother Johnson Lancaster, he'll be one of the panelists.
Okay.
D.C. Cooper, he'll be the moderator. So it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for people to come and hear some professionals talk about how, if they think that we need to uplift and restore our culture and our pride.
That's great.
I do.
Well, I think we all need that. We all need to embrace what we have. And I guess what you're trying to do is tell people what we do have that we don't know about. So much that we don't know about. Tell us about the Frederick Douglass book. What's the importance of that?
Well, the Frederick Douglass book, Kennedy Moores and the Family Douglass Family Initiative Kennedy Moores is the executive director and founder of that initiative, and he wanted to create a million abolitions in the year 2018. 2018 is important because it is the bicentennial celebration of Frederick Douglass' birthday. Frederick Douglass was born in 1818, and of course it's 2018. So it's 200 years. And there's celebrations going on all over the United States of America in honor of Frederick Douglass' bicentennial celebration.
Wow.
In fact, I was on the phone with with Kenneth Morris. I call Kenneth Morris Frederick Douglass sometimes, so excuse me. Because he talks with the same oratory and writing in an incisive way that I'm often thinking about. When I hear him talk about him, I'm talking about Frederick Douglass.
He's right with his ancestors.
He's right with his ancestors. And when I talked to him yesterday, he said, "Robert, I'm coming to St. Louis, and I'm coming ready." But the book is a special bicentennial edition, and he's going to sign it. He's going to have some shipped here, and so Nettie Washington Douglass, his mother, have a word to say here, and then Ken Morris, of course, have a word to say there. And the book is the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, which Frederick Douglass produced, if I'm not mistaken, and he put out. It was his bestseller in 1848. But the book has been revised, and the family have added to it. Brian Stevens, a wonderful gentleman. I don't know if you know Brian, but he's deeply heavy into our history and culture, and the prescription for healing what ails us. And then Ken Morris have a wonderful afterward about his family. So
I want to thank you, Robert Green. I want to thank D.C. Cooper for being with us today, and know that the Black Pride Day, August 18th, is going to be a success. And I thank all of you for participating also.
Okay.